Hey, what's up? Yeah, second time doing this because apparently the matriarch of our family was on her way home, and basically there was a fire and a couple of car accidents on the Altamont between Livermore and Newman. But yeah, this is my second time trying to do this, and again, as I mentioned in the beginning of all my audio videos, I do apologize if you hear any boom booms. Those are text messages and stuff, or maybe even phone calls and all that. Those are, basically situations I can't, control. Also, ladies and gentlemen, I do apologize if you hear any coughing, that the allergies and everything, as well as I do apologize if you hear a big boom. That's going to be my bank saying it's something's declined, but it shouldn't be. That's what I was talking about, my cough and everything. But yeah, I do apologize for that in advance. But right now, let's get on to the review, hopefully without any interruption. Okay, so we are on the 22nd part, if you will, 22nd chapter of the Melting Mei series. That's M-E-I, Mei. And this is the final year of the series. It started 5 years ago by DezzieArts. She wanted to, her real name is Michelle, but she wanted to do something to, I guess, she wanted to do something to be in step, if you will, kind of be in tune with the theme of May that a lot of artists and writers have pretty much embraced, and that is melting, if you will. So she wanted to contribute to that in her own way. And she's done a great job. Now, initially, I think the series was only supposed to be 1 year, or for just May of 2020, I believe, and everything. Was it 2020 or 2021? I can't think. Let's see, 2025, 2024, 2023, 2022, 2021, actually. Let's put it that way. It was only supposed to be for 2021, and then she decided, you know what, fans like it. I'm going to embrace it, and I'm going to continue it. And that's what she's been doing. And at the end of every year, every May, I should say, she would give us a sneak peek. Most recently, with the last couple of years, she would give us a sneak peek as to what the next year is going to be, and thus, add that to what the upcoming year's stories would be about. Well, this is the final year, so I don't know if she's going to do any bonus material to kind of like really tie a bow to it and everything at the end of this month, but we'll see. But so far, I've liked the direction the story's gone, because it is a little bit of a twist, outside of what we're normally used to seeing. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of a different direction. It's kind of cool that she's doing it in this manner. But yeah, it is a different take, if you will, so far on what the series is about and everything. But I'm sure we're going to get what a lot of fans and readers of the story have been fans of and been, hoping for, and always get at the end or in the middle of these series, and that's the gooey, melty, NFSW lesbian, I guess you could say, intimacy between not all three but all four girls. Because as we find out, Libby, who was born of Mei, Zarha, and Elizabeth, of the fusion into her, basically when they're separated, Libby can be, as I think I've alluded to before, can be her own person under the name of Libby. So basically, where are we right now? Well, over the past couple of weeks, in the start of this new season, basically what happened is at the beginning of the new season, or at least if you want to look at it at the beginning of the new season, actually the new beginning was part 19, the preview, which was last year. But anyway, if you want to look at part 20 as like the official beginning of the new and final season of the series, what happened is that all four girls decided to basically disguise themselves or go out to a club disguised, or in the disguise, if you will, of some college girls. Go out to a club, have some fun, and each of them, or at least one of them, I would assume each of them, all had Libby or Libby inside of them. I guess she can split herself in two or something like that, or they can split into a trio and she'll be part of them and something like that, and they can split into a quartet later and all that. You got to read the story to see what I'm talking about. Anyway, they're at the club, and then they see this one girl, and they decide to fuse back together, put Libby in charge as Levi, and as a kind of sashaying throughout the crowd, they, unbeknownst to the crowd, shapeshift into a guy. And by becoming a guy, they attract this girl, they take her to a hotel, they get it on with her, but then what happens is they get it on with her and get to that climactic moment, all of a sudden the girl melts. And they're like, what's going on? So they come up with an idea to try to figure out what's going on. They take the girl back to her home. They go through some shenanigans to kind of get her back to her hotel, get the girl that's melting back to her apartment from the hotel to see what's going on. So they have to go through all these kind of shenanigans, shape-shifting, be very careful and all that. And when they get to her apartment, they basically have to pour her, because I think they either absorbed her or put her in something, and they have to pour her onto her bed while she's still a puddle and rippling and all that, to kind of keep an eye on her to see whether or not she'll solidify or she'll stay this way. Well, thankfully, she does solidify. And basically what they do, because what happened is they shapeshifted together into one and then became a candle to keep an eye on her. And Zarha decides she needs a blood sample. She wants to see exactly what may have happened. Now, while they're discussing this, going over ideas and everything of trying to figure out, okay, is this girl going to solidify or not? And she does. But as they're discussing it and everything, Libby, who is Libby, the fusion, like I said, that was born from all three, she lets it slip that basically when they were fused together as one and they became the guy, she lets it slip that she may have, through the male region that they had at that time, she may have let herself slip out, if you know what I mean. Or she may have let something slip out of that region. You know what I'm saying? And into the girl. So anyway, the girl, basically, she does solidify. And again, like I said, the girls, all four of them, fuse back together and they become a candle to keep an eye on her. But then Zarha decides she needs a blood sample to see exactly whether or not this girl is going to be okay, or she might have after effects, like she might keep the powers and all that and become a fifth individual with these powers. So that's what leads us into this newest chapter. And, oh, by the way they get the blood sample is they become a cup, a mug, a cracked mug, if you will, that has coffee in it. And the girl, back to normal, wakes up, sees it, goes to sip it, and then kind of cuts herself on it. And that's all they need. That's the blood sample they need to, figure out, okay, what's going on? What will be the effects? What can we do to fix all this? So that's what leads us into this newest chapter, this newest part 22, where basically they're back at their new place. I'm assuming it is the new place, which is basically the way it's described. It's a suitable place to live and all that. The living arrangements are great. It's a house basically, but one of the rooms sometimes they turned one of the rooms, I should say, when necessary, into a makeshift lab. So Zarha, with Libby by her side, because Libby still feels a little guilty at being the one that caused that to happen, but Zarha and the rest of them have to tell her, hey, you're only 3 to 4 months old. You're still learning how to control your powers and what you can do with your powers, the same as us. So you don't have to worry. And by the way, that does give you a timetable that it's been 3 to 4 months since last season. Anyway, basically, Zarha is trying to figure out how they could prevent from what happened with the girl from happening again, as well as basically, get control, strengthen the control over the powers and all that. So basically it could be, a win-win. Like, they can prevent, themselves from affecting anybody else. And I do apologize. Hold on for a second, guys. Sorry about that, guys. But anyway, I'll get back what I was talking about. Essentially, Zarha wants to do some testing, so they're in a new place, which is essentially, I would assume it's smaller, but to the point that they gotta make one of the rooms or makeshift one of the rooms temporarily into a lab, so Zarha can do some testing and such. And basically, Libby, if you will, like I was saying, I believe I was saying, feels a little guilty, but she's rest assured by Zarha and the others that, hey, you're still young, you're 3-4 months old because of us, because, again, when they got together in a very melty, gooey, shape-shifty way at the end of last year, that being the 4th season, basically, Mei, Zarha, Elizabeth, they got together, like I say, in a very melty, gooey, shape-shifty way, to the point that they essentially fused on a DNA, molecular, mental, communicational level, and it caused them to give birth, if you will, in a fusion way to Libby, or Libby, as she would be known when they're separated. So anyway, she's rest assured, don't worry, you're still learning, we're still learning. And in the meantime, Mei is getting bored. And what's interesting, like I said, I mentioned, communication level with the creation of Libby. What I mean is they can all sense each other's thoughts, if you will. And Zarha, obviously she knows Mei is, throwing a fit, getting angsty, if you will, and all that. And she can sense it, but she's so concentrated in the work and the research she's trying to do that she doesn't, register it when Libby even tells her, yeah, she's throwing one of her fits, that. Because not Libby, but Mei is shape-shifting into a blue ball that's bouncing all over. She shapeshifts into a blanket that goes over the couch and everything. She's trying to keep herself occupied, but she wants to do more, and Elizabeth can sense this. Elizabeth basically flat out tells her, yeah, because Mei says, look, I've never attempted to sneak out once since that incident or since that moment with the girl. But Elizabeth, because again, communicationally, they can sense each other's thoughts. Elizabeth's like, yeah, but you've been thinking about it. And Mei has to basically, I think, say something along the lines of, yeah, but I haven't done it. So at least, they realize, hey, Mei wants to get out and about. She wants to have fun. So anyway, long story short, Zarha is doing the research. Libby is helping her out in the form of a snake, that is, because that's how she keeps herself busy. She shapeshifted into a snake and is coiling herself around to wait for whatever Zarha needs next. And she says she wants them to connect mentally. So I guess either Libby shapeshifts into SACS, as they call them. Gooey, melty, milky sacks, whatever. And I don't know if Zarha melts down as well. I don't know. But they basically get onto a communication level. They all start hearing each other's thoughts. They mentally fuse into Libby. And they can sense, they can sense each other's thoughts to see, whether or not, they can strengthen the power. In other words, make sure what happened with the girl doesn't happen again. And Libby, they can sense that she still feels guilt, but again, they rest assure her, hey, don't worry, things are okay. You're still learning. So anyway, Zarha decides she needs to do a little bit more testing, and even suggests to Libby to go keep Mei and Elizabeth's company while she does this. And Libby, taking on the role of kind of getting into the role of being a snake, goes like, yes, ma'am. And she's basically slurps, kind of slithers and melts down, slurps under the cracks of a door and into the living room, where she forms, as she's going in there, into a female centaur. And Mei notices this and is like, ooh, mythical creatures, let me in on this. And she decides to go from being a blanket on the couch into a little oval-shaped egg or something like that lands on the couch splats open and forms her, or allows her to form into a Medusa-like Naga, if you will, Naga woman, half snake woman. And basically, Libby likes this and everything and teases her a little bit, and then even suggests that they should go outside to the backyard, because the home, I guess, has a backyard, and kind of have fun, maybe even merged together. And Mei is like all for it, and Elizabeth's like, fine, you guys go and do that, but don't turn into anything taller than the fence, because apparently she's worried that if they go beyond the size of the fence, somebody might notice them and be like, hey, what's that, or what's going on over there, kind of stuff. So yeah, basically that's how the story ends, with both of them, Mei and Libby, going out merged as one into the backyard as, I guess, Libby now, because I guess all four together can be Libby, and even, just two, and just Libby into one of them can be Libby, or something like that. But anyway, though, the story, again, like I said, I thought was pretty good. I didn't say it was pretty good. I said that in the other attempts of the last attempt of this and all that. But what I'm trying to say is the story so far, this part anyway, is good. I like it. I like where they're going with, the little twist here of they're trying to figure out, okay, what is going on with us? Like, why did we cause this to happen, and can we prevent it from happening again? So I like that little twist to where, it's not just Libby, if you will, that's, 3 to 4 months old, which again gives us a timetable of it's been 3 to 4 months since last year's series of chapters. But anyway, basically, it's nice to know that it's not just Libby that's still learning, but it's all of them. Now, I do expect, because a lot of fans expect this to happen too, and I think I mentioned this earlier, a lot of people, I mentioned in the first attempt at this, a lot of people do expect, because she does this with all her videos, well, not videos, but all her previous, I guess you could say annual seasons of I'm trying to find the right word to say, annual seasons of the series. She always ends up having the characters get into a very melty, gooey, NFSW, playful, intimate, scenario to end things off with. And I do expect that to happen again here with part 23, maybe part 24. Again, it all depends on what she has planned. If she doesn't in part 23, that either says we're going to get that either tells me that we won't get an epilogue, or we might get an epilogue where, again, it might just be more of the same. But we'll see what happens. But I'm looking forward to the finale, which is scheduled to come out next week, Memorial Day and everything. So I'm looking forward to it and seeing what she has planned. She usually makes that one, the last one, a little longer. And if she does do an epilogue, I do expect basically what we get in there to continue on in the epilogue as well, maybe. But we'll see what she has in mind, if you will. But again, like I said, I'm liking it. I'm enjoying it. And again, as I mentioned before, when I first did the review for episode 20, and I think I even talked about the series upcoming and all that, I did allude to the fact that I will potentially do a live stream. I will potentially do a live stream, talking about the entire series, giving you my thoughts on it, and how I feel how I feel about it, and how far it's come and all that. I'll give you my thoughts, and probably a lot more, and maybe we might get a spinoff out of this. Who knows? We might get a spinoff. We don't know, but we'll see what happens. But like I said, I've been enjoying it. This feels like, again, this does feel like it's the finale. In case anybody's wondering whether or not this is it, it does feel like the finale because it feels more slice of life-like, with a little twist here and there. But it feels more slice of life-like to where this is it. And again, I do expect us to get the same kind of NFS melty, gooey, shapeshifty moment and scenes and interaction between the girls in 23, and maybe the epilogue if she does one. But overall, I like it, and that's all I can say on it. Let me know what your hold on, guys. Sorry about that, guys. But like I said, I've been enjoying the series and can't wait to see what the conclusion is going to lead to next week. But like I said, in the end, let me know what your thoughts overall, about the series. If you've been following it, if you've been following my reviews on it, let me know what your series is. Not your series, but your thoughts. Excuse me. Let me know what your thoughts are overall on the series, from what I've told you, from what you've read, if you followed it, and all that. How do you see it concluding next week? Do you agree with what I think is going to happen? Probably, obviously. Let me know. Love to hear your thoughts in the live, in the comments as well, the live chat during the premiere if you haven't done that already. But yeah, I'm enjoying it, and again, can't wait to see what the conclusion has within a week. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. And until next time, guys, do all the things in the description. Like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel, share the video. Also, like I said, click on the links in the description to find my content elsewhere outside of YouTube. You can find me at iTunes, at iHeart, at Radio Public, Overcast, Pandora, Spotify, and potentially even SiriusXM. You can also find me at rumble.com at BWRoses, odyssey.com at BWRoses-5. You can find me at VENMO at BWRoses. You can also find me at Venmo and Cash App to help support me there. Patreon at BWRoses. You can also support me over at my Teespring store where you can find merchandise you can't get anywhere else. You can also find me, guys, over at TikTok at BWRoses, at Twitter, aka X.com at BWRoses, Blue Sky at BWRoses, and you can also find me, ladies and gentlemen, at Twitch.tv and Kick.com. But ladies and gentlemen, let me know what your thoughts are overall on the story, on the series itself, and from what I've told you, from what you followed and read yourself. Like I said, what do you think is going to head next in the final week? And until next time, I am out.